Hello everyone, I'm Rahul. Hope all are doing good. In this video, we are going to see about modules in Python. So let's see what are the topics we are going to discuss. First, we will see about an overview of modules. So what are Python modules and why do we need them? Next, we will see about how to create our own Python model and how we can import them in our program. So next, we can see about the various methods that can be used for importing our modules inside the program. So next we can see about the different classification present in the modules. So at last we will see about two functions, the help function and the def function that is associated with Python modules. So let's see overview of Python modules. So what is a Python module? A module is a Python file that contains a collection of functions and variables that can be used in a program. So the basic definition here is if you have a program, and if we group all the functions and variables present in the program to separate files, then each file acts as a module. So you can ask why do we need separate files? We can have the whole code in a single file, no? So it works fine. So the basic catch here is if the size of the program increases and if we are keeping only one file for the whole program, it's really hard to keep track of various functions and variables present in the program. It's very hard to keep track of them. Next, the readability and understanding of the code will also decrease if we maintain only a single file. However, if modules are used, we have different modules, so the readability and understanding of the code will increase. It helps us to keep our code organized. It will look neat. So that's why we need Python modules. So now we'll see about how we can create a Python module. So to create a Python module, we need to create a file with a .py extension. So we are talking about Python module. So the file should have a .py extension. So the name of the file can be anything. So after creating the Python file, we have to create the functions and variables in that Python file. So in our example, we are writing two function definition inside the module. So we are naming our module as greeting learners. So I created a greeting learners.py file, and inside the greeting learners.py file, I'm defining two functions, namely welcome and address. So the welcome function address accepts a name as a parameter and prints a welcome message with that name. Then address function accepts address as a parameter and prints the address. So after writing the function definitions, we need to save them. So after saving them, our greeting learners model is ready to use. So for our program, I'm creating a new file called mainmod.py. So the mainmod.py acts as a program where we can import the module. So after creating the mainmod.py file, I'm importing the greeting learners module. So using the import keyword, this is how we can import our module inside our program. We should use the import keyword. So the first line imports the greeting learners module inside the program. So the second line is to access the function present in the module. We should have a prefix that's with the name of the Python module. So here in this example, we have the greeting learners module. So I am using the greeting learners as a prefix, followed by dot operator, which is used to access the function. So I'm going to access only the welcome function. So I am using dot operator followed by welcome, and I'm passing a name called Raj. So after passing, when we run this program, we'll get the output as hi Raj, welcome to the event. So this is how creating a Python model and importing them works. Next, we say about different ways of importing them. The standard way is using the import keyword. That's how we wrote this program, and we have seen the previous section. The next method is renaming our Python module, or in other words, giving an alias to the Python module. So that's one method. The next method is using the from keyword. So first about renaming a Python module. So there are cases where the name of the Python module is either too long or it's too complex. So if that's the case, we can't use repeatedly in our program. So it's very hard to write it every time. So for that, we can rename our Python module to an easier name. So for example, you have greeting learners, which is a long name. So I'm renaming my greeting learners module to greet. So after renaming them, I can access the function present in the module. So as same as before, I'm giving the prefix as greet followed by dot operator and followed by the function that I need to access. So if I pass Raj here, the output will be given as hi Raj, welcome to DevIncept. So one important thing is to note here is after renaming the function, we can't use the old name for accessing the function. For example, I have renamed the model as to greet. So, but so if I use the old name greeting learners, the Python interpreter will throw an error. So that's the important point here. Next is using the from keyword. So if in some cases we don't need to use all the functions that are present in the model. We need only some specific functions. For that purposes, we can use from keyword. So let's see how we can use them. The first line, from greeting learners import address. So what does is, from greeting learners, it will import only the address function. So that's how using from keyword works. So the first line imports only the address function from the greeting learners module. So after importing the address module, we can use after importing address function from the greeting learners module, we can use the address function. So when I pass Delhi into the address function, it will print your address is Delhi. So it works fine. So one important thing here is we can't access the functions that are not imported. For example, in greeting learners, we have two functions, address and welcome. So I have only imported the address function. So if I try to access the welcome function, the Python interpreter will throw an error. So that's the important point here. We can only use the functions that are imported. So the next is using from keyword with the asterisk symbol. So if you don't need to use the prefix, if you don't need to write the prefix every time, we can use the from keyword with the asterisk symbol. So what it does is it will import all the functions present in the Python module. For example, from greeting learners, import import asterisk symbol. So this line, what it will do is import all the functions present in the greeting learners. So it will import both the address function and welcome function. Address function welcome function. So I can after that I can use them without the prefix greeting learners. So I can directly use welcome symbol. So the next thing here is we see about the classification of Python modules. So there are three types of Python modules: built-in, user-defined, and third-party. So the built-in Python modules, as the name suggests, come bundled within the Python interpreter. So we don't need to write anything. We can say directly import the modules and use it in our program. So for example, there is a built-in module called calendar that is present in the Python interpreter. So and there is a function called isLeap. So using that isLeap function, we can check whether year is leap year or not. So we can so there are many Python built-in modules that are present in the Python interpreter, and we can use them. So next is user-defined module. So this is what I have discussed in the first section. So creating it's the same thing. So we're creating a file sumnum.py which acts as a module, and we are adding the function definition inside that. So after creating function definition and creating the module, we are importing in another file and we use them. So that's the user-defined module we already seen at the start of the video. The next is the third-party modules. So there are certain modules that are not available by the interpreter, and we also don't need to write. So these modules are created by third-party people, and they are available in the internet. So we can install the third-party modules first in our system, and we can access them in our program. So to install the third-party modules, we can use package managers like pip, conda, or snap. So it's your wish. So in this video we're going to use the pip package manager. So after installing the Wikipedia module, I can use the Wikipedia module in our program. So I'm importing the Wikipedia module. So after importing, I use the page function to create a summary of Bill Gates. So after storing the result in a variable, I'm printing this summary of the result. So this is how this works. So next we'll see about the two functions, help function and the dir function. So the help function, what it does is it will print all the built-in modules that are present in a Python interpreter. So we can do this by writing the help function with the modules as a parameter within a single quotes. So when we run this, it will print all the built-in modules that are present in the Python interpreter. So there are many built-in modules present in the Python interpreter. But the common ones are operator modules, decimal modules, random modules, string, math. So all modules will have their own functions. For example, a random module will have a random generator function inside that. So using that function, we can create a random numbers in our program. So that's it. And last, we will see about the dir function. So dir function or directive function. We can call it like that, directory function. So what it does is it will print all the functions and variables that are present in a specific module. For example, I have a random module here. For example, I have a random module here. So if I pass the random module inside the directory function, so it will print all the functions and variables that are present in the random module. So this will be output. It will return a list of all the variables and the functions that are present in the random module. So it will print that. So however, if you don't pass any module inside the directory function, it will print the default function that are present in the Python environment. So this is the default functions. So that's it. We have come to the end of the video. So I would like to thank Shruti Chauhan and Satyam Tripathi for gathering this information, making this wonderful markdown file. So thank you guys. So and thank you very much.